it like 20 times.
Yeah.
Little tiny, you can read it in like an hour. It's amazing. Okay, so we got
Yep, okay. So we got 4 left. Okay, 225. There you go. 224. There you go. 214. 214. It's not. All right, well, 221.
221. Hey, Sonia! As a man thinketh, girl. As a woman thinketh.
213.
213.
Awesome.
I'm serious. Read that book, As a Man Thinketh. It works for women, too. It's a chauvinistic title, I know. It was written back in the 30s or
Yeah,
something.
but it's still, there's still the word man and woman too. So.
Oh, does it say woman on
No,
there?
well, it says woman.
Well,
There's still the word man in the word woman.
oh, okay. You got daughters, don't you?
I got one.
See? A man with daughters, you see? Like me. Okay, all right. Now it's up time for questions. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, I'm an open book. Yes.
So I actually study franchising, so
Oh, cool.
I think it's fascinating that you went with Joe Homebuyer
Yes.
versus like We Buy Ugly Houses or Homevestors,
Yeah.
as they're known in the franchise community.
Correct.
And how plugged in are you into the franchise community? Like, are you aware of that?
Yeah, so the top performing franchisees, we have a mastermind group, so, and a lot of the top performing franchisees own other businesses that are doing extremely well, so I've been fortunate that, and like I said, my mentors own Joe Homebuyer. Mark Stuber and Cody
So that's-
Hoffine, they own
Did you
Joe
consider
Homebuyer.
Homevestors at
No,
all? No?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, my professor and mentor, I guess, is he was the CEO of Homevestors.
Oh, okay.
So.
And like I said, I went with what I knew, and I listened to an interview with Pace Morby, and he didn't have much good things to say about Homevestors, I believe, so.
You used to work for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, very
yeah.
cool. That's so cool. I'm gonna like dig up your FDD and read it.
Yeah, that's
All of
great.
that. I would love to connect.
And honestly, I'm a terrible, I kind of trusted them and just, I read it, but I didn't get an attorney or anything. I probably should have, but I trust, like I said, Mark Stuber and Cody Hoffine are some of the best people I know, and yeah, I would fall on a sword for them.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah.
I just want to say, like, you're the first person I met that done very well with direct marketing, because I don't hear a lot of good things about it. And I've tried it myself, and I haven't had the best of luck.
Yeah, it's hard, but you got to keep doing it, and you got to reach out to those that are doing really well with it. Like you have, like there's a lot of guys that are doing a lot, like they're doing what I'm doing in a month. They're doing what I do in a year in a month with their direct mail marketing.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are out there. I know real quick. I know there's a company in Arizona, Phoenix, and I don't know how they're doing now, but within the last year they did $12 million in deals, and they were spending $4 million. They just did a TV commercial. So they did. So they think their gross profit was $8 million. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's one that you got. Like I said, I'm spending about $22,000 a month in direct marketing.
So on you as a franchisee, like, how much do they show you on the model, like where?
Everything. Everything. That's why I went with them, because even though Mark and Cody are great friends of mine, I don't feel uncomfortable. I could text them, or I could text Janet, who's the VP, or I could text Dave Nibley, who runs dispositions for their Utah-based company, who's been doing it for years, who's disposed 1,000 properties. I have access to all the best people, and I can just text them and say, hey, can we hop on the phone at this time? And they'll do it every time. So that's the, and I can call I have 50 other franchises of people that I can call, they can call me, and that's been extremely valuable. So, yeah, so.
What was the self-generated marketing?
So, the self-gen deals were like Brian finding a deal, he found it for sale by owner.
Okay.
I found a property in the MLS. I property through a realtor. I think, there's one other one that we did. I can't remember. But yeah, that's through self-generated activity, so that was outside of my direct marketing.
And how many leads are you sending out per week for texting?
So I don't do a lot of texting. So I don't have the systems in place to do texting. Texting can be very successful. I do have a company that I use called Oldham, and you can send out 500 texts every 5 minutes, but you do have to be careful with texting because of the laws that are in place now. There's a way to make money in it. It can work. One of my buddies that owns a franchise in Utah, he's done over $800,000 in revenue this year from texting. But they're sending 10,000 texts a week. So yes, they're doing a lot. But yeah, like I said, you got to be careful because you can get sued with texting. So, but any other questions?
For texting, I'm going to add to this.
Go ahead.
For texting, you have to be 10 DLC compliant. That means you have to tell the provider. I used to text. I was texting 1,000 texts a day. And you're 10 DLC compliant, which means you have to register with the company that is sending the texts out for you. And they tell the carriers that your LLC, your company is registered, and now they know where to find you if you break the law.
Yeah.
So if I send Keith a text and he's on the do not call list, and it says buy, investor, sale, or cash on it, they're gonna flag me. The text is not gonna be delivered. They may even cancel my account, whatever. You can get in big trouble, put it to you that way.
Well, and
Be careful with texting.
And most people, you typically don't have a case unless you text them many, many times. But that happens where people don't take people off lists, and typically the fine's $2,000 to $2,500 typically. So, and there are people out there on the litigators list. That's what they do for a living, and they will find you and they will sue you and they will.
Yeah, I'm with Batch Lead, so they have the tendencies. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious how much
You did the 10 DLC? I did that.
Yes,
I
of
was
course
using
you
that.
have to. Huh?
So you registered?
Yes, I'm registered with that, so
Yeah.
that's clear. And
Cool.
Yes.
What's up?
How do you do with managing your team, like checking KPIs and all that, like on a day-to-day basis, like all your callers, the virtual assistant?
So what's nice with Call Geeks is they can, if I ask for a sheet, they'll send me all the calls that they've made in a day or a week or a month, and they have a spreadsheet where they upload all the leads, and then dial time, so they have all of that, and then they record every call that is a lead. So you can listen to all those recordings to make sure, say, hey, look, this isn't a lead. This is it's Hire Kicker or something. So you can ask for new callers if you don't like the quality of the calls from your callers, or you can just give feedback. Say, hey, can they fix this?
And they train them or you train them?
So they train them. Yeah,
So they do everything?
correct. They do
just
everything.
send you the leads?
Correct. And I have a good friend in Dallas that's he does about $3 million a year, and he's got 7 callers. So, because it's not very expensive, like I said, but you got to have the team set up to do it, because it's really hard to manage. Like, you get 2 leads a day, and like I said, there's a lot of crap leads. But like I said, if I'm averaging a contract a month, that's for only $1,300. That's worth it, obviously. So, but yeah. So callgeeks.com is who I use, and most of their callers are Egyptian. So, and I had good experience with Egyptian callers when I was with Utah Sell Now and Texas Sell Now, better Texas operation. So, but any other questions?
Can I show them something?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Devin's talking about Call Geeks. I'm glad he brought that up because
Did you start using them?
I did.
There you go.
So I'm going to show you guys something. I'm segueing off of what Devin just said here. So I asked Devin, I said, Devin, we were working at Lantana House or maybe the Del Rey. I said, Devin, how you getting these leads? He got one in Boca. I'm like, how you getting these leads? You're in Utah. I'm right here and I can't get it. Call Geeks. I'm like, what? I hire my own callers off of Fiverr or Upwork. I train them myself. I send them videos. I pay them myself. I handle their problems.
A lot of work.
One of my callers had to leave early for a Christmas thing for her daughter today in the Philippines. I'm like, okay, Janice, go. I hired 1 Call Geeks. I didn't even tell you, Devin. I got my first contract with Call Geeks last week.
Oh, great.
A house in Miami. Devin, it's in Miami. Devin knows I hate Miami. There's always, he goes over there, it goes sideways. Right, Donovan? So anyway, I got one in Miami on the contract, and we're gonna go look at it Saturday. I got a buyer. But Call Geeks. So basically, I did what Devin said. I said, hey, look, I want the KPIs, and I want to hear the recordings. These are all the recordings. I started October 3rd, and here we are December 14th. These are the recordings of all the leads they sent me. Let me see if we can play one. Let's check this one out. You guys want to hear one?
Yes.
Okay. They're different from my callers. They're different. They're direct. They go for the jugular. Eric, you got a house, I want to buy it.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking with Mr. David. The owner of the property is 738 Southwest 4th Terrace.
Oh, okay. What is this pertaining to?
I work for a local investor, and they was asking if you might be interested in selling this property.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Let me see if he's available. You said 738?
Yes.
Hang on 1 second.
Write the address down, guys. You can call this lady. She wants to sell.
Like I said, the quality is not great.
Yeah.
It's the quantity, because they'll call $45 a week for
Yeah,
$1,300.
$45
That
a
includes the
week.
dialer. They use their
Yeah.
own dialer. All you do is you send them the leads with them skip
Skip
trace
traced.
on it.
Yeah, they provide the dialer. See, I'm paying for the dialer. I'm paying for the list. I'm paying for the leads. I'm managing. It's a pain in the butt.
So I'm
They
gonna
do
hire-
everything.
I'm gonna hire another caller to start calling buyers for me,
Yeah.
because they'll,
Yeah, and I talked to them about that. They said they can do buyers.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They skip trace your leads for
you
you?
No.
have to skip trace.
No, you send them the
Okay,
skip.
send them.
Yeah, you have to skip
Hello?
trace.
Yes?
He said he's not interested in selling that property.
Okay.
Not interested?
No. He's actually interested in selling a commercial property.
Another property.
But not that property.
Right, Brian? Brian knows.
He
Do
have a
you have any
commercial
other
property for sale?
Yeah, I can give you the address.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
27 Northwest 4th Avenue, and that's Dania as well.
4th Avenue what?
And I said that's Dania Beach as well. That's the city, the same city as
Okay.
any other property.
Okay.
27
And-
Northwest 4th Avenue.
And which zip code?
33004.
Okay. And is it listed on the market?
I'm not sure.
Uh,
But
so,
he said that's the only property he's willing to take an offer on to sell.
okay, so if we get a good offer, if he get a good offer, he can sell as soon as possible, or does he need months or two to think about selling?
He's waiting on a good offer, so if you guys can work it out and come up with a good offer, you can give us a call back. And
Yes. Yes, so this is the best phone number for my manager to call you back with the offer?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just curious what would be the reason for selling, if I may ask.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What would be the reason for selling, if I may ask?
Oh, I'm not sure.
So can you just confirm it? So because I need to pass this information to my manager.
She's getting the
So he
timeline,
will calculate an
the
offer
reason
for
for
you.
selling, the
and
asking
call
price.
you back
It's called
within
the
24
4
hours. And if you're satisfied with the offer, you can complete the process. It's non-obligatory offer.
All right, hang on a second.
So the other thing is too, like,
These are the KPIs.
they're not good at, okay, perfect. Yeah, so they're not good at asking why they want to sell. They struggle with kind of developing rapport. So that's why you have a good lead manager, a good acquisition manager to call these leads. And like typically I've been doing the lead managing, and so I just try to tee up Brian for appointments. So I'll call them and say, hey, why would you want to sell this property? So, yeah.
You're calling 100,000 a month on average at 9 hours a day. What's your average cost per call?
So Call Geeks, we've only done about 30,000 revenue since May. So we've done some smaller deals, 16K and then 5K. So like the cold call deal that we did was from Brett Daniels' team, the one we made 68,000 on. So like I said, most of my cancellations have been Call Geeks leads. So.
Yeah, so these are the KPIs you asked about. Right here.
So real quick,
So you don't have them fill out like a seller information sheet that you provide them?
So, no, honestly, that's I feel like an idiot, but yeah, I should send them over my seller information sheet to break down and ask the question specifically. So, yeah, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Damn it.
If you had to, so like, obviously like you're really big on marketing, you have
Yeah.
a huge budget for that. For someone who is just starting out, let's say their budget is $0, what would you recommend them do? For the highest
Drive for
return on-
dollars.
Okay, not $0, but like, let's say for the highest return on investment, which sounds like your highest return on investment is direct mail.
Yep.
But for someone who doesn't have that in their budget, I think that's an interesting question.
Drive for dollars, poll county records, which is free, stack the list. People that are highest on stack lists is typically they fit in 3 categories or more. Go knock on their door.
Cool.
And pre-foreclosure lists.
Yeah.
First deal I did in Texas as a general manager, I flew to Texas. I started doing drive for dollars because I was down there to hire a driver. I knocked a pre-foreclosure list. The 20th house I knocked, got a deal, made $26,000 on it. So you have
Did you
to talk.
convert anybody?
No, I don't typically go into missionary mode after that. But no, yeah, I drive for dollars,
Very cool.
use batch, pull your leads up there, stack those lists, and start to talk to as many sellers as you can. Cold call them, text them, knock on their door. Because if you have, like, if I stack my lists, so I got 50,000 addresses in my database right now. So if I stack the list of 3 or more, I have about 5,000 people in that address. So I'm going to skip trace those 5,000 people. I'm going to call every single one of them 3 times. I'm going to text them after that. And then I probably break it down even more to have about 100, 200, because 5,000, that's too many doors to knock on. So do about 100, 200 knock on those doors. Yes.
Can you be more specific about your list stacking? Are you stacking
Yes.
by motivation, or are you stacking?
So batch is nice because batch gives you pre-foreclosure, high equity, and also what's from my direct mail, it's called a Brent Daniels list. So that Brent Daniels list is people that have owned the house for 7 or more years, have at least 30% equity in their home, have it, the property values under $300,000. I think there's one more thing. Yeah, so I've cold called that list and mailed that list, and I've done 3 out of my 12 closings this year from direct mail came from that list.
Can you say that again about Brent Daniels?
Yeah,
7 years
so
old?
7 years, and I'll let you know the full information. Yeah, so on the home for at least 7 years or more. I think age was a factor too. They're at least 45 or 50 years or older. Property value under 300,000, and they have at least 30% more of equity. So, because typically the selling point for people is around 7 years, is when people decide to sell. So, which is great, like Florida, like let's say the market drops 20% next year. I don't think it will in Florida, but there's been such a giant 90-degree angle of equity in this market in South Florida that like if stuff still drops, people still got equity and sell. And then you got guys like Tito and Jose, you take over their existing mortgage. And that's something I want to work on next year. I've only done 1 seller finance deal this last year, which is a shame because I've done probably 50 total since 2015. So I got to get back on the seller finance train. So there's
Can
a
you
lot
go
of
over the
value.
KPIs? That's what Call Geek sent me. You get the same thing, right?
Yes, yes,
So they pretty much tell you how many went to voicemail.
correct.
How many were live.
Yes.
And how many leads? I'm getting like 2 leads a day from them. Is that about
Yeah,
what
they're
you
getting
do?
about 2 leads a day. Out of the 30 leads, or I guess 20, I guess they call about 20 days a month. So you get 60 leads, probably 10 to 15 of them are okay-ish leads. But that's pretty good. And if you can convert, if you can get appointments out of 3 or 4 of those are long-term follow-ups, and you want to convert at least 25% of your appointments, that's a contract a month right there. So,
And if you have the subject to in the tool belt, now
Yes.
you give them more options. People like options.
yeah, and what I'm learning though, in my experience with subject to, I'm probably not going to wholesale subject twos anymore. I'll
Yeah.
probably keep them myself.
I'll probably do the same.
I've got a buyer that keeps waiting till the last minute to pay the mortgage each month, and it's been a pain in the butt.
Oh, you wholesale one?
I did.
And the guy's like dragging his feet making payments?
Correct.
Ah,
He eventually does it, but
Damn.
yeah. So tomorrow I'm threatening to foreclose. I said, look, because he's already rehabbed it. So I'm threatening to foreclose on him, and I'll take it over. It's a mobile home in Okeechobee on an acre of land. I flipped a house on the exact same street. So this exact same street in the middle of nowhere, I got a cold call lead from there, and then I got a commercial lead on the same street 4 houses away. Brian's been to both of them. So we made $30,000 on the flip on the one, and then I assigned the other one, but I'm threatening to foreclose on him because he's rehabbed the whole thing. So I could get a rehab property that I'd have to put any money into it, and then the mortgage is $790 a month, and I could probably rent it for $1,400 a month.
Very nice.
So, but,
If you did have to foreclose, how would you, can you explain how you would do that? Would you get a lawyer to do that?
so I use RTR Title. Their head office is in Orlando. Hope Richards is the owner of it. She's one of the top foreclosure attorneys in the state of Florida, so I'd probably use her.
So she'll take care of you?
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's the other thing too. Get a good title company. Get a good title company that understands wholesaling, that has an attorney, it's attorney owned, and knows exactly what, because you're going to run across all sorts of issues. So like, I don't know, the 52 contracts that I did, like I said, I probably could have closed an additional 10 to 12 if I had a better buyer's list. But the other ones had major title issues, or seller went dark, or whatever. So that's always going to be part of it. But because I've had attorney-owned ones, like my attorney can do probate, she can do foreclosures, she can handle pretty much anything.
What's her name?
Her name is Hope Richards, RTR Title. They have an office in Fort Lauderdale, one in Lake Worth, Jacksonville, Orlando.
I talked to her a few times, very nice lady.
Yeah. So yeah.
You said you did a deal in Okeechobee?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, dude. There's actually a lot of money you can make in Okeechobee.
I want to talk to you about it.
I bought a vacant lot in Okeechobee from a commercial deal, and guys like, I want $10,000 for it. And I'm like, I looked up comps, and you could comps for 25, 30K for lots. So I offered him 4, and we settled on 6. And I called my agent out in Okeechobee. Her name is Lori Mixon. She's one of the best. Like, Rich is the best, but Lori Mixon, she got into real estate at 65 years old. She's one of the best realtors I've ever met. She's doing 12 deals a month.
Wow.
Out of this freaking world.